Hey, what's up everybody, Tech Chucker here, and I've got a review of the Hasbro Marvel Legends Marvel Knights Man-Thing Wave Blade. And this figure is actually a lot cooler than I was expecting it to be. So let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. Alrighty, so we're going to take a look at the articulation first. His head is on a ball peg with a hinge. Mine's really quite tight, but he can look up a decent amount, which is pretty cool. And he can get his head or his chin all the way down into his chest, which is also pretty cool. But again, that hinge on mine is really quite tight, which is a lot better than it being loose. He has side-to-side motion. There's nothing getting in the way of that. You can see there, no issues. But there isn't really much. There's a little bit of tilt, but not as much as I'd like. But it could, it could be worse. In the shoulders, he's got a ball hinge, which allows him to get his arm up just above the shoulder, which is pretty cool. He's got full rotation of that shoulder as well. Upper bicep swivel, that works good. Double jointed elbows, those also have a really good range of motion. Can get that arm well over 90 degrees, which is great. And then he's got a peg joint and a hinge in the wrists. No real issues there. All right, moving down into the torso. He has that standard hinge in his torso, and it works. It actually works pretty darn good. So you can see he can get forward about this far. It doesn't quite go that last click, which would be nice, but moving back, he's, got an okay back arch. He's got good waist rotation, but it does kind of spring back on you, which is kind of annoying. I don't know if that'll go away. In the hips, he's got T-jointed ball joints in the hips. This is a little limiting. I wish he had a little better range of motion there, but it's not terrible. He can kick forward just shy of 90 degrees. I wish he could go a little further, but kicking backwards, there's really not much of anything there. He's got an upper thigh cut that works good, and then he's got double jointed knees. Those also work pretty decent. He's not getting his leg bent all the way in half, but it is definitely more than 90 degrees, which is good. There is an upper boot cut or an upper shin cut, which works good. And then the ankle, he's got a hinge. It's pretty limited going back, even worse going forward. And then he does have an ankle rocker, which works pretty decent. Luckily, we've got that boot cut. Otherwise, that ankle would really be causing this figure major articulation issues. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the articulation. It's, there aren't any major issues with it. Let's check out the sculpt and the paintwork on this figure because Hasbro did a really good job with this. And starting with the head sculpt, I really like this head sculpt. I think they did a really nice job. I don't necessarily see the resemblance of Plastic Addict, but a lot of people think that it does look a lot like him. I really like the kind of the bolts on the top of his head. Beyond that, the paint is fairly clean on his head and his face. They did a good job there. I really like the torso, and I really like this, the wooden stakes, and they painted the buckle. They painted that little buckle there. They did a really nice job painting some of those details that oftentimes they miss, and they didn't miss them most of the time on this figure. Now, they didn't paint the straps, but that's okay. I think they did a pretty good job. Moving down, you can see the silver bullets on his thigh. That looks nice. I really like that. It is a floating piece, but it's not really going to get in the way as far as I can tell. I don't think it's going to slide down like Cyclops did, but we'll see. It looks like it's going to stay up there. The knee pads, I wish those were a slightly different color. They are a little too small, I think. I think they should be bigger. I don't know why Hasbro keeps giving them tiny little kid-size knee pads. And then they reuse these shins and the ankle pieces. They just get in the way. And mine aren't straight. Like you can see, it doesn't look like it's straight on. I feel like I should be able to twist that ankle over a little bit. And, they're sculpted very nicely, but they just aren't very good because they cause issues with the articulation. So I think Hasbro needs to stop using those shins. But let's go ahead and do a size comparison next to Deadpool. And we'll actually do a quick measurement. Blade measures in at about 6 1/4 inches. So about a 1/4 inch shorter than Deadpool, I'd say. Maybe even a little bit more. But, you know, I think he scales pretty well. Yeah, he looks pretty darn good, I would say, especially alongside Deadpool. Not a bad figure whatsoever. And so, you know, overall, I would have to say that Hasbro did a really good job with this figure. You know, it was hyped, and I think this one actually lived up to the hype. And let's take a look at the alternate head that we get. This is the head that has pretty much a full head of hair. Basically, the face is pretty much the same, just the hair is different, and they did a great job painting it. I don't have any complaints with either of the head sculpts. You can see here's the head with whatever his receding hairline is. It's, you know, kind of a cool shape there. So overall, if we get an even closer look at this head sculpt, there's some really nice detail in here, and they did paint it very, very cleanly. So overall, this accessory, the alternate head, you know, it's kind of hard to determine which one I'm going to pose them with because they are both very, very nice. So let's go ahead and see what this head looks like on the figure. And there you go. That looks pretty darn good, I have to say. And like I said, I can't really choose which one I like better because I think they both look really, really good. So then he also comes with his sword. He only comes with one, which, you know, I'm okay with. This is basically the same sword that we got with Deadpool. The paint is fairly clean. There is a little bit of messiness, but it's okay. Very, very pliable plastic for the sword. The sheath that it goes into is not necessarily curved, which is the same basic issue that we had with Deadpool's. But because the sword is fairly soft, you can just slide it in and you'll be fine. So, you know, overall, I'm pretty happy with that accessory, and let's just go ahead and throw this into his hand. And what I was talking about before is his gripping hand. It doesn't hold it quite tight enough. I wish that he could hold it a little bit tighter because that sword doesn't always hold its position. But, you know, it's good enough, I would say, but they should have given us a little bit better hands. But, you know, if you need to, you can use some of that little blue ticky-tack stuff to make sure that it holds its position. But overall, you know, I'm happy with the accessories. I am very, very pleased with this figure. I really don't know a huge amount about Blade, but this figure is so cool, I couldn't pass it up. So I would say you should get this figure if you can find him. I believe he's going to be one of the harder ones to get after a little while once this wave has been out. Even longer, which it's already been out for a while, so you might have a hard time getting it now. So what do you guys think? What do you think of this figure? Is this one of the better ones of the wave, better ones of the year? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Alrighty folks, I hope this review was helpful. If it was, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, I'll see you later.